So in my minimalism journey, I kind of went through a phase where there was a lot of things that I really wanted to have, but I told myself I couldn't have them because they weren't very minimalistic. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those who are here and new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. Today's video is going to be 7 practical minimalism mindsets. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo! If you wish to help out my channel, you could consider making a donation at my Patreon, which is in the description box below. And if not, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get right into it. Number 1, there's nothing I can't have, just less. This mindset is one that I kind of developed over time after having been pretty hardcore minimalist. I realized that minimalism isn't really about not being able to have certain things. Minimalism, I feel like, is just something that I can have a little bit of everything in moderation. I just don't have to have an excess of it. And that has helped a lot because I feel like there are a lot of things now that I can have in my life. I just don't have to have a lot of it. Things I can think of, for example, is makeup. I thought that since I was a minimalist, I could have 0 of other things, but therefore I was justified in having a lot of makeup because I'm a minimalist. So I should be allowed to have as much makeup as I want. But I found that wasn't really practical. I found that, I can have anything. I just shouldn't have a lot of it. So I do have makeup, but I just don't have a lot. Number 2, denial or refusal to have things. So in my minimalism journey, I kind of went through a phase where there was a lot of things that I really wanted to have, but I told myself I couldn't have them because they weren't very minimalistic. Some examples that I could think of was getting my nails done. I felt like having my nails done was something that I couldn't do because I know that a lot of minimalists don't do that. And it's funny, I'm now one of those minimalists who don't do her nails, but when I first started my minimalism journey, I got rid of nail polishes that I really liked from Innisfree. I only had 2, but I liked them a lot, but I felt like I couldn't have them, so I made myself get rid of it, and I really regretted it because I really did like them, and I felt like I could have finished them off. Like, I was already halfway through the bottles. And the moral of the story is you should go on your own minimalism journey, and you should have whatever you want in your life. You shouldn't deny yourself or refuse them, can't have them because you're a minimalist. I don't feel like that is a way to live. You should go on your journey and figure out what you do and do not want in your life. I think that's what minimalism is for, is to kind of strip off the excess. So you should feel justified in things that you do want to have in your life. All right, number 3, I'd like to experience many, but not in excess. I think this point is similar to the first point that I mentioned, but there was a period of time where I felt like certain categories of things were not things I could have, so then I would have an abundance in another, and I think that that's just a very lopsided way of living one's life. So I let myself experience a variety of things. I do dabble a little bit in fashion, I do dabble a little bit in doing my nails, I do dabble a little bit in whatever my heart wants, and I don't let myself not have it just because it's not very minimalistic. I just tell myself, honestly, that's not what minimalism is about. Minimalism is going to look different for everybody, and I have to figure out what works for me, and so I do, and I don't beat myself up if I no longer look or seem stereotypical in the minimalistic sense. I used to try to be the black sheep of the community. I don't know if you guys have been following me for that long, but I don't do that anymore. I just stop with the labels and the restrictions and all of that, and I just tell myself I can have anything, a variety. I just try to follow the guideline of not being excessive about one thing, aka my makeup collection. Number 4, excess can be toxic. And I think this one is a pretty good mindset because you would think that within a minimalistic lifestyle that wouldn't be a problem. Like, how could you be excessive about it? But if you guys have followed my channel, one of the first problems that I encountered was I was very excessive in my minimalism. I was very extreme in very unpractical ways. Like, I didn't let myself have a bag. Like, I only owned less than 7 pairs of underwear. So before the week was done, I had to do laundry. I had only 1 jacket, or there was just a lot of things that I did and made my life very difficult that I just really couldn't function on a day-to-day. I mean, yes, you don't need to own a bag to live, but then you got to carry your stuff in your hands, and then your hands are not free, so then you end up using a plastic bag because you're not going to run out and get another bag. It's just, I'm sure that if some people have been practicing this lifestyle, sometimes we can take it a bit far because the initial benefits are wonderful and you just want to keep going with it, but sometimes you kind of enter a deficit, and once you're making your life overly difficult, I think that's when the excessive minimalism needs to be put on hold, and you just kind of need to find a way to get back to that balance where your life is being benefited by it. Number 5, I don't lust after many experiences either. This is a kind of an interesting one, and I don't know if this is one that came along later on in my journey. In the beginning of my journey, one of the key things that I wanted to use minimalism for was to be able to travel. I loved watching travel vlogs since I started watching YouTube. So for me, the idea of like traveling was really important. I did travel a lot, and I'm not sure if one or the other went in hand, but obviously if you travel a lot, you won't accumulate much possessions because you have to like store it in a luggage, or maybe I didn't want to accumulate a lot, so I would have money to fly and travel. Whichever came first, because of this combination, I fulfilled my desire to travel a lot to the point where I started to get like homesick, and I started to long for a place where I could just feel at home and just feel grounded. So I guess I got that out of my system. I no longer lust for many experiences. And along that vein, as I embrace more Zen and kind of emptying out my cup, which is like decluttering your mind, I started to realize that I didn't have to accumulate many experiences in order to feel like I was a worthwhile individual, or that my life was fulfilling if I was having lots of experiences and adventures. And among these experiences, that included, like I need to go here, I need to see this, I need to eat this food, I need to take pictures of this, take pictures of that. Like that whole, like, it almost became collecting memories or experiences became like the new thing to collect. And that too, I think, can become a bit toxic if done in excess. I think maybe some of you have seen videos where people go into debt trying to upkeep that like social media persona of always traveling, because traveling a lot is not necessarily cheap. I know there's ways to do it for cheap, but just generally speaking, a lot of travel is not necessarily like the most affordable way to live. I mean, I guess if you're a nomad, but the point that I'm trying to say is that like I just don't lust after many experiences anymore. I'm very content to live a more mundane life, like the 9 to 5 grind, and I guess I'm just enjoying it, and that's just the stage that I'm in. And I think that's kind of like the opposite typical minimalistic perspective, but I'm very happy to have a very simple and humble and minimalistic life that doesn't involve many different out of the ordinary experiences. Number 6, I find joy in a little amount. This is a pretty good one that I cultivated over time in my minimalism journey. I really appreciated that warm, fuzzy joy feeling you get from having a small amount of stuff in multiple categories. I like not having much underwear. I know I keep using underwear as an excuse, but I'm very proud of my very small underwear collection. It has given me lots of joy over the years, and it's very small, and it's great. What I'm trying to say is I have found that I'm quite happy with a small amount of things, and it has definitely like barred me from buying way more clutter and things, because I always feel like if I buy that, it's gonna take away from my small amount, and I don't want that. So I've been really enjoying that in my bag collection. I have a small bag collection. I've been really enjoying that with my makeup. I'm curating my makeup and culling it down. If you guys have been following my channel, you guys have seen my makeup collection has gotten quite small over the years. I don't own a lot of clothes, so getting dressed is always a joy. I wear my favorite clothes all the time, and I feel very happy with owning very little. I find that like owning little is a very joyful thing, and I guess that's one of my favorite things about minimalism, just owning less and how happy it can make you. All right, number 7, the joy of missing out. So somewhere along my minimalism journey, as I started to like address my makeup addiction, I started to realize that I kind of suffer from FOMO. I felt like because I didn't own a lot of things, I should be really like fully enjoying life's experiences. So if I wasn't enjoying experiences, I really did feel the sense of like lack, or I just felt like I was missing out. Like, for example, if my boyfriend hung out with his friends, I definitely needed to be there. If my own friends were hanging out, like, I definitely needed to be there, because I didn't feel like material things were holding me back. So I should definitely be enjoying like life experiences. But the thing was, though, again, I guess I take everything into excess. It's not always healthy to be constantly chasing that, because you become kind of like a victim to the mindset of always missing out. And if you miss out on something, you feel terrible. So that's what happened to me. My boyfriend went to a gathering and I didn't go, and I saw it on his like WhatsApp, and I was just like filled with jealousy. And then I just realized that that's just not how I want to be living my life. So I've kind of come to embrace that there is joy in missing out. I don't need to be part of every single event that happens with people who are close to me. If they're having a good time, I'm happy for them, and if I can't be there for whatever reason, then that's okay. Even if there is never a next time, it happened and I wasn't there, and that was just that, and I accept it, and I accept it as part of life, and I feel happy. I feel happy in the joy of missing out. I feel at ease and I feel peace, and I think that that's enough. I don't want to like over psychoanalyze it, but I feel very content and very happy that if I've missed out on something, I'm gonna be okay, and I'm not bothered by it at all. Okay, so there we have 7 practical minimalism mindsets that you might decide to include into your life. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.